Hello everyone, welcome to another episode. What we're going to do for today is I'm going to walk you through Cisco Packet Tracer, how to use Cisco Packet Tracer and what Cisco Packet Tracer is for. So please stay tuned and let's get started. Okay, so this is how a Cisco Packet Tracer simulation tool looks like. Where can you download Cisco Packet Tracer? You can download this via netacad.com, but you must have an account. How do you get an account? Usually, if you're enrolled in any Cisco subject, your professor or your lecture provider would be the ones who can get you an account inside NetAcad. So you need to have an account because you cannot also use this simulation tool if you don't have any NetAcad login details, because once you open this up, it will be asking for your NetAcad login details. So it's preferable that you have an account, or if you're an old student, you can you still remember your login details, I think you can still use that to have an access to your Packet Tracer. So what is Packet Tracer? Packet Tracer is a cross-platform visual simulation tool. It was designed by Cisco Systems. It allows users to create network topologies and imitate modern computer networks without using the actual devices. So the software allows users to simulate the configuration of Cisco routers and switches using a simulated command line interface. As you can see from the Cisco Packet Tracer software, we are presented with several toolbars. I'm just going to walk you through some of these toolbars so you can get familiar with the following. Of course, we have here the default toolbar, which contains the new file, folder, save, print, and etc. Under this, we have the select, inspect, delete, resize, etc., which will be helpful as we go along the upcoming tutorials. But the most important toolbar that we need is the ones below, which provides you with the network devices, the end devices, the components, the connections, of course, miscellaneous, the routers, switches, hubs, wireless devices, security, and even the WAN emulation. So how do you use a Cisco Packet Tracer? I'm just going to give you an example so you'll appreciate Cisco Packet Tracer even better by showing you this particular example. As you can see from this space, the white space, that's our logical workspace. What you can do is you just have to drag and drop all of the network devices there and then connect them, and then of course configure the following connection so you can see if your connection is successful or if it's a failed connection. You can also simulate that here on Cisco Packet Tracer. So first off, let's just drag and drop two 1841 routers on our workspace. Let's rename this R1 and this one R2. And then of course, since I'm trying to connect two local area networks together, let's say I have here PC1 as my end device and PC2 as the other end device for the other local area network. And then if you already have a fundamental knowledge how this should be connected, PC to router, usually we connect that using a crossover cable. So let's just connect that via fast Ethernet 00 going to fast Ethernet 0 of your PC. Same thing with the other one with R2, fast Ethernet 00 going to fast Ethernet 0 of your PC. And then if we try to understand how the connection gives us an idea, let's say this one is a local area connection that's located in Lipa, and then this is local area connection that's located in Manila. So if that's the case, we cannot use crossover cable. That's wrong because crossover cable has an attenuation. So the longer it gets, the harder the packets gets from its source to destination. So what type of cable do we usually use for WAN or wide area network? We usually use serial cable, this one, okay? But since if you try to check our Cisco router, by default doesn't come in with a serial connection, what we need to do is we need to install a serial port in our router. So how do we do that? You just have to go to the router, click on the router, go to physical, zoom in so you can see, and then turn it off, and then using the HPIC2T, this is the serial, as you can see, HPIC2T is Cisco 2-port serial high-speed 1 interface card providing 2 serial ports. So that's what we need. This is the port that we need to install to our router so we can connect both local area networks together. So what you just need to do is you just need to drag and drop it in any slot, any of the slot provided. So I'm just going to drop it here near the power on off. So after doing that, you just have to turn it back on. Same thing with this with your second router. Turn it off, go to HPIC2T, drag and drop to the slot, and then turn it back on. So once we have the following installed, we can already use the serial DCE connection. So I'm not going to explain what these cables are or any of this configuration. I'm just going to show you how Cisco Packet Tracer works so you can have more appreciation of this software. We'll be tackling about this one by one in the upcoming tutorials. Okay, so let's connect our R1 using serial 00 going to R2 serial 00. Okay, so what I did for now is I have assigned an IP address for all of our network devices. I'll be explaining more about assigning IP address and IP subnetting and DLSM calculation as we go along the way. For now, our main objective is to really show you how Packet Tracer works. So our main goal for this communication or for this connection is to connect PC1 to PC2, okay? But first, let me just open up a notepad because this is what I usually advise my students. Even before they start configuring the routers, they should start by assigning it or configuring it with the housekeeping. Okay, what is housekeeping? It's just a way for you to organize your network devices, a way for you to change the host name, because changing the host name will not confuse you which particular network device you are configuring. Securing the connection, what I mean by securing the connection is when you try to put in password from your PC to your router and then between the intermediary devices. And last but not least, putting like any message of the day and login message for people who are also working with the network and try to configure the network together with you. So how do we do that? First off, you type in E, that's enable, then configure terminal, connect. Host name, we're changing host name of router to R1, and then we're putting in password between console line. What's the console line? That's the how do we communicate from PC to router? We use a console cable. So this is securing connection between your PC and your router. So password by default Cisco, login, and then line VTY now is between intermediary devices. What do I mean by that? Between router to router or router to switch, or that's VTY for you. So log in, and then finally we put in enable secret password. What's the difference between secret password and the password that we just have configured for your console line and VTY line? This is a lot more secure than those, because if you try to check on the configuration of your router, these passwords here will be displayed in plain text, and that is of course unsecure. That's the main reason why we're putting in secret password, because this password or any password that you'll put in here will be converted into hash, unreadable text, every 30 seconds, and that's quite impossible for you to crack if that's how the algorithm works. Okay, so next we put in banner message of the day. Let's say for example configuring R1, and then banner login unauthorized user, for example. And then once done, all you need to do is just select everything, copy, go to your router, go to your configure terminal, or I mean CLI, and then paste. Enter. And then that's also how it is for R2, but this time we're just going to change this. R2, the space. There you go. Now we have configured both of our routers together. This time we're going to configure the IP address for the PC. So how do you do that? You go to PC, click on PC, go to desktop, IP configuration. Just type in the IP address, corresponding IP address for each and every device. So this is 248. This is 192.168.0.6. Okay, so same thing with PC2. It's 192.168.0.9. It's 248. 192.168.0.10. Okay. So finally, we have configured both of our PCs together. So next is we will configure our fast Ethernet port. What do I mean by that? Your PC going to your router. This fast Ethernet port should have the same IP address as your gateway address. I'll be explaining more about that as we go here at Packet Tracer tutorial. So I'm going to enter the fast Ethernet port of your router. How do we do that? Just type in INT interface fast Ethernet 00 IP add 192.168.0.6 255.255.2.55248 for the corresponding subnet mask. No shot, and then do write. And all you need to do is just select all, copy, go to your router, and then paste. And then as soon as you have done that, the light, as you can see, turns green. That's the indication that it has already been configured. But to check whether you have a correct configuration, you can do that by using this, sending a simple PDU from your PC1 going to R1. And as you can see, we have a successful communication. That means your configuration for your PC1 going to R1 is correct. Basically how Cisco Packet Tracer works. This is the main objective of Cisco Packet Tracer. It lets you practice the configuration even without the actual devices, and it also lets you see if you have a correct configuration for your device. So this is a really very helpful simulation tool when it comes to learning about Cisco networking. Okay, so thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. For the next episode or next session, we'll be talking about the basics of Cisco networking, what are the typical networking devices that we have, and of course, how we can connect all of these network devices together. Okay, so thank you for listening. Please subscribe to my channel, and goodbye for now.